Pool season was in full swing, and I decided to throw the backyard bash of the century. I invited neighbors, friends, and family to my little slice of suburban paradise for a weekend pool party extravaganza. There would be floaties shaped like unicorns, a taco truck parked at the end of the driveway, and a DJ spinning summer anthems. The kiddie pool was topped up for the toddlers, the main pool was cleaned and sparkling, and a line of lounge chairs awaited the sun worshippers. Even my dog had his own mini inflatable raft. This was going to be epic. Then HOA Karen struck. She showed up on the sidewalk, clipboard in hand, wearing that smug expression reserved for people who they own the universe. With a curt nod, she handed me a yellow violation notice. Pool parties are prohibited under Section 8.4b, she intoned, like she was reading from the sacred HOA scroll. Your event must be canceled immediately or face daily fines and possible removal of pool privileges. I stared at her in disbelief. The party was in 2 days. I had already bought the tacos. I called her rules petty. She called them policy. I pointed out that no one in the block relied on this pool besides me. Meanwhile, the taco truck was booked and 24 friends had RSVP'd. Supplies were already delivered. Panic rose like chlorine levels in an unbalanced spa. That night, I didn't sleep. Instead, I scoured public records and real estate listings. I discovered something deliciously ironic. The HOA clubhouse, with its own commercial-sized pool, slides, and concession stand, was up for sale. Apparently, the neighbors defaulted on dues last year. The bank wanted it off the books. It was a bargain. I could see the back parking lot right behind my house. If I owned the clubhouse, I would own the very place HOA Karen claimed as her fortress. So I made the call. 10 minutes later, my broker sent me the offer. I didn't haggle. I wired the funds by dawn. The market shifted, the sale closed, and just like that, I was the proud owner of the HOA clubhouse. Karen got the news via a letter from the county recorder. I waited for her meltdown. Morning arrived and I got a voicemail. This is HOA Karen. I demand an explanation for the clubhouse sale. You have no authority. I smiled. She had no idea that buying the clubhouse meant taking control of pool scheduling, maintenance budgets, and event permits. I owned the slides, the concession shack, and every squeaky locker. More importantly, I owned the right to host parties there. That afternoon, I threw a formal announcement party in the clubhouse parking lot. I unveiled the grand plan, a private water park with slides, fountains, lounge zones, and a floating bar. I handed out event passes that looked like VIP tickets. Neighbors cheered. Karen showed up, again holding her clipboard. I walked up, offered her a ticket, and said, "Welcome to your new jurisdiction." Her face went pale. I let her stew while we started clearing out old equipment. By evening, we were measuring for slide footprints. I wanted the first ride to start at sunrise. The war was declared. Karen thought she banned my backyard party, but now she was on my turf, paying rent and lifeguards reported to me. The upper hand had truly been claimed. Neighbors delivered towels, snacks, life jackets, making the Waterpark dream an unstoppable reality. Karen watched helplessly from her old clubhouse steps. The grand opening day dawned bright and breezy. Word of my private water park had spread like sunscreen in July. 20 families showed up before I even unlocked the double gates. Parents in sunglasses carried beach bags. Kids squealed as lifeguards blew whistles around the slide entrances. Concession stands served frozen lemonade, corn dogs, and churros. A skyline of palm trees swayed under the HOA blessed sky. Inside, the main pool had become an aquatic wonderland. We hooked up a lazy river channel around the perimeter and anchored inflatable flamingo rafts for the children. The water jets sprayed arcs of rainbow mist. The DJ booth sat in a tiki hut serving smoothie bowls. The social area sprouted vibrant umbrellas that looked like a painter's palette. Then, at exactly 2:13 p.m., Karen arrived. No trumpet fanfare, just a rolling SUV, tinted windows, and her stomping out in pink heels. Clipboard in hand, she marched up to the gate and punched in a complaint code, unauthorized commercial operation. I greeted her with a regal wave from the top of a lifeguard tower. "Karen, welcome back to your new playground." Her eyes narrowed. "This is against zoning," she spat, scanning the crowd. "You need permits, insurance, business license." The lifeguard, blown away by her drama, lowered the whistle. The concession operator sighed. Kids paused mid-splash. Silence, but for the distant chime of a wind chime shaped like a unicorn horn. I hopped off the tower platform and walked toward her. Actually, I filed all paperwork last week. You'll find my business permit, health inspection, and aquatic safety certification right here. I handed her an official folder stamped with the county seal. Her forehead crinkled like a wrinkled lettuce leaf. She flipped through the pages. But, but the HOA prohibits carnival rides, she stammered. HOA rulebook doesn't apply to properties we don't control, I said, guiding her to a map display showing property lines. I own the clubhouse. I own the zoning rights here. Call the county. They'll verify. Her jaw dropped. A few neighbors sidled up, whispering, "She's outmatched," and should have read the fine print, Karen. Karen's glare shifted from the map to the Waterpark wonderland now humming with laughter. A lifeguard blew the whistle in defiance, and the crowd cheered. She snapped the folder shut. "This isn't over," she muttered. I waved again. "Enjoy the slides. I suggest the turbo tube." She stomped away, muttering threats about next steps and violations to come. By sunset, the water park buzzed with recap videos and selfies. I watched trending hashtags pop up: #HOA Heaven, Karen Who, VIP Arc. The neighbors posted enthusiastic reviews: "Best pool party ever," and "Karen lost again." Meanwhile, I drafted my next memo. Section 2.1, expand opening hours to dawn patrol surf sessions. Section 2.2, install nightlights and glow-in-the-dark floats. Section 2.3, offer HOA-free membership plans and birthday party packages. I closed my laptop and surveyed my kingdom, where palm fronds cast playful shadows over rainbow waters. The concession staff packed up churro carts for the evening customers. Kids clutched cotton candy clouds. Even Karen's old clubhouse loungers were repurposed as VIP seating. Karen, in her rose-colored blazer and deflated confidence, stood across the way near the empty clubhouse. She hovered like a seagull, too proud to scavenge, but starving for control. One of her HOA buddies walked up, patted her shoulder, and whispered, "Maybe next time, read the deed." Celebration clamor echoed through every sunlit neighborhood corner. Neighbors delivered towels, snacks, life jackets, making the water park dream an unstoppable reality. Karen watched helplessly from her old clubhouse steps. Karen huffed in outrage when a crisp letter arrived, a cease and desist from her HOA attorney. She threatened to sue me for operating a commercial enterprise on what she insisted was community property. I chuckled. As the owner of the clubhouse, I had the deeds and permits all filed weeks ago. Ignoring the letter, I sent her a certified response. "Feel free to meet me in court. I've already retained counsel for harassment." Undeterred, Karen slipped into her car and zoomed over to the clubhouse. She stormed past lifeguards, clipboard swinging, demanding that tickets be collected at her seat. I greeted her with a megaphone announcement. "New member registration is now closed. Please enjoy the view from outside." She glowered from behind the glass entrance. Meanwhile, the water park continued to flourish. I added a wave pool that sent tidal surges through screaming kids. At night, we rolled out glow-in-the-dark floats and hired a food truck that served bamboo steamers and bubble tea. The neighbors flocked like seagulls to fries. Hashtags like Night Splash and No Karen Needed trended across the neighborhood app. Even some HOA holdouts were buying day passes. Frustrated, Karen organized a petition to reverse the clubhouse sale. She collected signatures and delivered overflowing binders to my office. I reviewed them with my assistant, then smiled. Each binder contained duplicate names, addresses outside the community, and one curious apostrophe error that matched Karen's handwriting. We forwarded the flawed petition to the county clerk as evidence of forging community records, but the petition fiasco was just the prelude. Karen launched an email smear campaign blasting faux testimonials claiming the water park endangered community tranquility. She even hired a drone to film early morning splash sessions, then submitted the footage to the county as proof of nuisance. Instead of outrage, the drone footage went viral. Neighbors laughed, calling it Karen's surveillance show. Legal pressure mounted against Karen's position on the HOA board. Within a week, she was removed in a unanimous vote. She clutched her clipboard like a lifeline. The community drove spinning water scooters past her window in celebration. She pounded fists on the glass, but no one handed her a ticket. That same morning, I executed the next phase. With my expanded holdings, I purchased the small parking lot adjacent to the clubhouse, then erected a tall turnstile. Access required a QR-coded pass. I invited residents to renew annual water park membership. The fee was minimal, enough to cover maintenance, but far cheaper than HOA dues. all except Karen, who now discovered her membership lapsed automatically due to non-renewal. The following afternoon, she tried to sneak in through a side gate. Security guards politely asked for her pass. She sputtered and presented her old clipboard. They shook their heads and guided her to the service desk. I watched from the wave pool platform as she negotiated membership, like Hailstorm negotiating with irony. Sunset turned the sky pink and orange. Families drifted on lazy floats under tiki torches. Laughter echoed louder than Karen's tears. She stood outside the turnstile, drenched from wet slides, clipboard drooping, as neighbors waved water guns at her in good fun. As the night ended, I walked up and handed her a pass embossed with EXHOA Enforcer in bold letters. She looked at it, defeated, then glanced at the glowing pool. I tipped my hat and said, "Welcome to your new jurisdiction." She didn't step forward. And with that, Karen's reign was washed away. Headlines dubbed it the greatest HOA comeuppance ever. True poetic justice under the sun. Absolute victory. No refunds, Karen. Period. Seriously. Karen disappeared for 2 weeks after her clipboard funeral. Rumors floated through the neighborhood like leaves in a lazy pool current. Some said she moved away. Others claimed she was plotting in silence. But just as the wave machine hummed into another Friday night, she returned. Not with a vengeance, but with a lawn chair. That's right, Karen plopped herself outside the Waterpark gates in a folding chair, holding a handmade sign. This used to be sacred HOA land. Beneath that, in sharp red ink, "Say no to chlorine corruption." I nearly sprayed my mango smoothie across the patio. Was this performance art? Neighbors gathered not to protest, but to take selfies. Karen's protest became a local meme. We installed a Karen Watch board by the snack bar, tallying her appearances like bird sightings. Even the lifeguards got in on the action, starting a float above negativity campaign, handing out inflatable inner tubes shaped like peace signs. But I wasn't done. I had a plan. You see, I'd recently acquired the empty parcel behind the clubhouse. I announced a surprise extension, Waterpark Phase 2, now with lazy river courtrooms. Themed float stations allowed guests to pretend to be HOA judges while ruling on absurd cases like too many lawn gnomes or unlicensed flamingo invasions. Karen heard about it and cracked. She marched back into town hall at demanding my expansion be halted. "This is mockery," she yelled, waving a Waterpark brochure like it was contraband. But the council smiled politely. "We've already approved it. The community response has been overwhelmingly positive." She stumbled out of the meeting to find her car covered in sticky notes reading, "Stay hydrated, Karen." Still clinging to control, Karen made one last desperate move. She contacted a local news station. "They're weaponizing pools," she declared during a live interview. "It's HOA anarchy," the reporter asked. "But weren't you evicted from the HOA board?" Her face went blank. The camera zoomed in. Cut to commercial. I turned her 15 seconds of fame into an opening event. Anarchy Splash Day offered half-price passes to anyone who brought their HOA violation letters. Residents lined up with citations for decorative rocks and improper wind chimes. It became a movement. HOA survivors united. Then came the twist. During renovations, my crew found something beneath the clubhouse foundation. Old HOA documents signed by Karen that proved she'd illegally voted on her own bonuses years prior. I quietly sent the papers to the new HOA president. Within a week, Karen faced an official audit. She vanished again, but this time her lawn chair didn't return. The community replaced it with a life-size cardboard cutout holding a sign, warning, excessive fun zone. We mounted it permanently at the entrance, right next to a water cannon that misted judgment-free zone in bubbles. The HOA restructured entirely. The new motto, chill first, rules later. And Karen? Well, rumor has it she's renting a cabin far from pools and floaties, somewhere chlorinated joy can't reach her. But even there, she can't escape her legacy. Because here, we remember. Every splash, every scream, every clipboard defeat. And we owe it all to her. 6 months later, the Waterpark was a legend. We weren't just a community attraction, we were the destination. Local influencers dubbed it the HOA Free Haven, and travel bloggers listed it as a must-see rebellion. I even partnered with a VR company to create an immersive HOA escape simulator, complete with a digital Karen who screamed at you about mailbox colors. Then came the letter. It arrived in a plain envelope, no return address. Inside, a court summons. Plaintiff, Karen Underwood. Allegation, Emotional damages due to hostile takeover of community traditions. I laughed so hard I dropped my espresso onto my blueprint for a new hot tub amphitheater. Still, I showed up in court. It was a modest courtroom with an overworked judge and buzzing fluorescent lights. Karen strutted in wearing a gray suit and that same doomed smirk she wore when she tried banning wind chimes. She even brought a mini clipboard. Her lawyer opened with a dramatic monologue about cultural erosion and how the water park represented unchecked wet tyranny. I leaned back, arms folded, waiting for my cue. Then my lawyer stood. Calmly, he produced documents proving Karen's past misuse of funds, her forced removal from the board, and here's the kicker, the footage of her fake protest outside the park, which we'd recently licensed to a meme account with 3.5 million followers. She monetized her own downfall, he said. This isn't emotional distress, it's rebranding failure. The judge took about 45 seconds before banging the gavel. Case dismissed. Karen stormed out, red-faced, trailed by a cameraman from a reality show I didn't even know existed. Apparently, she'd sold the rights to her redemption arc. I suppose her clipboard wasn't paying the bills anymore. Back at the water park, we hosted a court is adjourned party. I gave out free season passes to anyone named Karen, except the original. We held a mock trial in the lazy river, complete with a floating gavel and judge robes made from pool noodles. Then, something unexpected happened. Karen returned, not with a lawsuit, not with a protest, but with a job application. She walked through the gates, head high, wearing a staff t-shirt. "I'm here to apply as a rules enforcer," she said. Figured I might as well join the winning team. The staff went silent. I looked her dead in the eye, trying to read her angle. "Fine," I said, "but you start in the splash zone and no clipboards allowed." She nodded. "Deal." And just like that, Karen became the most ironically beloved member of the team. Tourists took photos with her like she was a theme park mascot. We made her wear a floaty at all times. She grumbled, but deep down, I think she liked it, because sometimes the downfall isn't the end. It's just another dip on the lazy river of karma. And here, we float on,